All right, Chase. This has been weird. This is our third attempt, right?
Yep.
Trying to get this thing going tonight. I'm Bobby. That's Chase. We were having technical difficulties. We might still be. I'm trying to check that right now. Um, our stream was like super delayed, and I don't know what was causing it. So we're gonna hope for the best here, that we're in a better state. I don't know if we are though.
I can't tell until these ads end.
I think we're good. It looks. I think we're good.
Okay.
I got a little preview. I think we're all right. Okay. We were attempting to talk about Oblivion and how neither one of us are huge fans of it. Virtua Studios had stuff leak off of their website that we've heard from like Grub and other industry insiders that there was going to be an April stealth release of Oblivion, a full remaster, UE5, adding new like overworking like bow mechanics, stealth mechanics, all this stuff, some sort of like pairing inspired by Dark Souls. It sounds pretty robust for what it is, and I think people are very much hoping for old Bethesda goodness, and I don't know if Oblivion's it, but people seem very excited, and it could be a huge get for Microsoft to shadow drop.
What do we count as old Bethesda goodness these days?
Dude, I mean, you know, everybody from like, you might not like it, and I respect that. I'm not a huge fan, but Oblivion, Skyrim, Fallout 3.
Okay, I would say that Skyrim is not old Oblivion, but that's just me.
Skyrim is old, dude.
It is, but it's also more of like a modern Bethesda game.
Dude, the last time that people were super excited about Bethesda was Skyrim. That was like people were pretty cold on Fallout 4, and that was what, 2011, 12 was Skyrim.
I don't disagree that it's been a while, but I still just don't think Skyrim is an old game comparatively. Like they've been around for a very long time.
Skyrim was an Xbox 360 game, so was Oblivion.
Yeah. Daggerfall, which is Elder Scrolls 2, was much earlier.
Skyrim's an old game, dude. Like, you've gotten old. I hate to break it to you. We're old.
We've all gotten old. That is definitely true.
And Skyrim, despite the multiple people who still play it and the mod community and all the things, is old.
Maybe it's just that they keep re-releasing it, and you're like, oh, Skyrim's new because it just came out.
I mean, I'm happy they're doing Oblivion, but it's also weird considering people love Skyrim. Like, why would you not make Skyrim run more modern today? And I know that they've done like versions of it, but
I think it's that the people who would want that are modders who have already done that.
Yeah,
like there's so much modding work to Skyrim that they don't need that. The one that's surprising to me is like, why wouldn't you go back to Morrowind? Because that's the one everybody, not including myself, loved. Like a lot of people thought that's where the series really peaked, was Morrowind, and so to not go back and try that one, but it's possible that Morrowind is just too big. Like it's weird because I remember hearing like, oh, here's like Skyrim's size of just like where the world was, and then here's Oblivion, and maybe it's like roughly the same, maybe it's actually a little smaller in Oblivion. Morrowind is like bigger, and then Daggerfall is like 20 times the size of map as all of these.
It's weird. So we'll see what happens. Like, I think the rumored date is actually April 21st. So by the time you're listening to this, if you're not watching this live, it's very soon. But that would be a fun thing, like I like a good shadow drop, even if it's been leaked pretty heavily for this one. And I'm looking forward to seeing what a Bethesda game on a more modern engine will look and run like.
Speaking of upcoming video games that are going to be shown, when's that Star Wars game?
The 19th, I believe.
Okay.
Yep. So 3 days from now, we get there's a lot of stuff. Like, we got the Oblivion leak. We had a look at Marathon, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that near the back half of the episode, I think. And then there was a very slight teaser for a new Star Wars game from Respawn, and it's going to be a turn-based tactics game. It is called Star Wars
Zero something,
and it's got a pretty slick like buzz image with it. You know, like there's a lightsaber on it, some droids. It looks very, very cool.
Company.
Yeah, Zero Company.
It's like that's what we call my house, Zero Company.
Zero Company. This is a single player, turn-based game. I don't know if this is going to be like an XCOM like turn-based, if this is going to be more what you were kind of experienced on some Knights of the Old Republic. I really don't know what to expect here from them.
We'll learn more on the 19th. We've seen like a promotional image. There's a person with a lightsaber, so there's going to be some Jedi shit, but there also seems to be a big group of people that all have different things, and only one of them's holding a lightsaber. So maybe you have like a big varied team of different people.
Respawn, correct me if I'm wrong, they've never done like a turn-based video game, correct?
That's a good question. I mean, they're certainly not known for that.
But, I mean, I think Titanfall and I think Apex when I think about recent. Well, I guess Jedi Fallen Order at this point, or the Jedi series that they've done there too. But I don't know if they've done a turn-based game. But
I mean, how long have they been around? Wasn't Titanfall their first game?
I thought
they did a Medal of Honor game.
Okay.
Medal of Honor Above and Beyond. What the hell's that?
I don't know. Sounds like a mobile game.
It says coming soon, so is that? I don't know what the hell's going on anymore. Oh, it's a VR experience. Okay, never mind. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Worse than a mobile game.
Yes, one that goes on your eyes. So I don't know, man. Like I don't know what to expect there. I'm very excited. We talked about it on one of your Casey K Plays streams where we're just like, this is the type of game we want. You were excited about it. You messaged me.
I'm super jazzed for it. Yeah. This is exactly what I want from a Star Wars game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there could be a lot of cool stuff to do here. I think about something like I don't think it'll be like this. I think it probably is going to be more like a grid-based kind of thing, like an XCOM. But I think about like a full spectrum warrior. Ooh. And doing that with Stormtrooper or clone troopers, I guess, because they're the more confident ones. We had Republic Commando, and it just feels like Republic Commando came out too soon. Like we weren't ready. We weren't ready for that kind of game.
You won't like it, but your kids are gonna love it.
Exactly. Or the technology hadn't caught up with the ambition of Republic Commando.
That's a game that you should play. You talked about doing more Star Wars games.
I've tried going back and playing it.
Didn't they remaster that recently, or not remaster, but remake it? Didn't they do
No, it wasn't a full it was just a remaster, and like the game still.
What about that Bounty Hunter? Wasn't there a cool Bounty Hunter game that got?
There was not a cool Bounty Hunter game. There was a Bounty Hunter game.
Couldn't you play one of those?
Nothing cool about Jenga. Oh, I did see. Just to keep us off topic here.
Yeah.
Lego was celebrating some Lego Star Wars stuff. And they had a big like online banner. I think this was in like a direct email, and it said like build Boba Fett's iconic ship and other Star Wars things. Yes. And then the person on Blue Sky is like, and what's the name of the ship, Lego? Weird that you wouldn't say the name of that ship in your marketing to all ages and families.
I think that they changed the name on it, didn't they? Officially,
it would not surprise me. It would definitely not surprise me.
They showed off some new Lego sets that look really cool for Star Wars, but hey, it is the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, and you should play that video game, the Revenge of the Sith video game, and you should do the alternative ending of that video game. And that's all I'm going to tell you.
That might be like a YouTube thing that I do, but I'm not going to do that. I think if I play another Star Wars game on Chase Gay Plays, it's going to go back to the original KOTOR because it's been a while. I've only played through that game once, and I played it as a goody two shoes, and I just kind of want to go through and
just wreck shit. Yeah,
really fuck some shit up. Really corrupt some Jedi.
Do it. Well. We've talked a little bit about Oblivion. We talked a little bit about Star Wars, and we've got a lot to say about Blueprints. I've also got a couple updates here on a game that I've beaten, and then another new game I've played and also beaten. And then we're going to talk about Marathon. So we've got a lot of fun stuff for you this evening. This is episode 419. It is April 16th, and you are watching this live, potentially, but you're certainly listening to us. And here is where I'm going to tell you, Chase, I beat Atomfall. I think that game is pretty good. We talked a little bit about it on here. I ended up going with what I felt was the most pragmatic, good path forward. For there's 6 endings of that game that you get to choose from, and you don't have to do anything fancy. There's no secret endings. You are just working story beats, and some of those stories can get cut off at the knees depending on what you choose. But I felt really good about my choice, and I had a good time with that game. I think that is uh, a very cool approach to that genre. Uh,
How many hours do you think you put in that?
I put
All told,
13 to 14 hours in on that one, just over
it's not bad.
14.
So that's a
No.
good solid length these days.
Well, I'm going to comment on that because I beat South of Midnight also. And I'll talk more about that game in a
Whoa,
moment.
that was quick.
It was quick. That game just came out last week. I beat that game at like 9.5 hours into it, which feels really good. But I think about Avowed this year, and I think about now South of Midnight. I certainly think about Adamfall, and I feel like we all kind of saw the writing on the wall for where we're at today with this, and I'm not mad about it whatsoever. But in the last 5 years, we've had a pandemic and multiple disruptions of team sizes and acquisitions. And I think a lot of these games are kind of a dipping your toe in the water with these studios to see, like, show us what you can do. Like, take on a smaller thing, or maybe they're just trying to say, we're going to be super focused and we're going to give you some really good tools to do a very focused and contained story. And I think both of these games, Adamfall and South of Midnight, had they came out 10 years ago, I think people would probably be having like game of the year elements in these conversations. But I feel like they come from an era of video games, a video game design that we've kind of moved past in a way. And not a bad.
Are both of these games Xbox published? I know South of Midnight is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Adamfall is not.
Oh,
Adamfall
okay.
is Rebellion that put that one out. And then Avowed was Xbox. So they've got two now that have clocked in right between like that 10 to 15 hour mark.
Because I
And
feel like Microsoft and Xbox are maybe because they're trying to build a little bit more goodwill,
yeah.
that they're going for these games, and they've also been bitten by some of these games. Speaking of bitten, what was the vampire game that was
Oh,
not good?
dude. I've wiped that one out of my memory
Good,
bank.
smart, good
Yeah.
call. We should all repress that one.
Yeah.
But there's I think they've
Redfall.
it came crawling back.
It did.
Like they have been bitten a couple times by
Yeah.
big big bets that didn't pay
Hmm.
off. So I could maybe even see them thinking we need to try some smaller investments here that might pay off less, but pay off well and buy us some goodwill in the community with
Yeah.
just making some good games again. And also, there was a lot of talk about just Xbox doesn't make games anymore. They bought all these studios and then they just didn't make any video
Absolutely.
games. So if you make a bunch of smaller games, maybe that's more exciting to people, or just feels like they're doing more.
Yeah.
That's not just funding Israelis.
Well, there's another thing that's going to happen with them too, because you're going to have the Outer Worlds 2 here very quick. There's a
That's true.
big gameplay, so that'll be two games from Obsidian this year that are both going to be clocking in around the same time.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they're doing these things because of this, but man, I really do think outside of just like general studio layoffs, and I think of course the pandemic disrupting workflows, I think Baldur's Gate 3 most recently really there was a paradigm shift with that game that like just changed a lot of approaches on how things are going to play out when it comes to making big RPGs. And it's these games, it says reconnecting right now. But I think we're okay.
Okay.
It looks like we're live still, but there might have been a slight disruption. Um, but
Woo, hello.
I feel Microsoft is also really hell bent on keeping juice going with Game Pass, and I think that
Yeah.
these games are easier to like get on a cadence. But
That's
yeah,
a really good point. Like having a subscription service, you really need to keep
yeah,
people invested into that. And yes, I mean, I think people are potentially taking the wrong lessons from Baldur's Gate 3. The lesson should
yeah,
be your team can't do this. Like they had
yeah,
a very specific, very special,
absolutely,
specific set of circumstances, and they knocked it out of the park. Yes, Rockstar's taking a billion years to make GTA 6. And Microsoft already has one of these. It's taking Bethesda a billion fucking years to
Yeah.
put out Elder Scrolls 6.
Yep.
But in the meantime, to your point, we have this Game Pass thing. We need somebody to we need a reason for people to stay on it. You know, a couple of years ago, it was with the rhythm game, that stealth drop that everybody liked.
Cadence of Hyrule.
No, the one, the fighting game, not fighting game.
Oh, Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you had some little things that you could kind of pepper in.
Yeah.
Pentiment, another one, is like,
People
oh,
loved
hey,
it.
here's a smaller game that's going to buy us some goodwill. And I feel like that might be a growing strategy for them going
Yeah.
forward. Is let's get some like smaller and mid-sized games that people can be excited about and generate some interest for Game Pass.
Absolutely. And I got to tell you, I am excited because this month I've had two fantastic games. They're going to put Claire Obscura on their Game Pass service next week. I'll be checking that out. But I want to talk to you about South of Midnight because I do think that this is one that you should not let slip out of your grip this year. I think it's worth checking out for a lot of reasons. It's a shorter game. It's a weekender if you really wanted it to be. And it's one of the most uniquely designed video games I've seen on an artistic and acted out level. Chase, these voice performances in this game are just off the chart. They're so well acted. There's a ton of,
they were cool.
yeah, sure. Man. And the art is just like, I could not stop looking at this game. It's beautiful. Like there are, you called it out on our monthly preview. There's a lot of the animation marks that you would see from an Into the Spider-Verse that has some claymation, but this is just so deeply alive. And it's so deeply alive in a very specific Gothic Southern setting. And the creaks and the crows and the bugs and just the grass that you hear blowing around, the wind chimes, just the distant soulful music. The soundtrack to this is unbelievable. It reminds me so much of the production and just like the way they use music in the like Steambot games. And so like they do a really cool, like every time you're going into like the boss encounter, there's always a song that kind of builds with the level as you get to the boss fight. And it's really, really cool. And I think that this feels like it's basically Alice in Wonderland, but with some other like fantastical stories in there. And it works so well for what's going on in this story. And I don't want to give too much away, but this is a game that has a ton of emotion. There's a lot of very dark topics the game touches on. Like, so the general loop here is you go, you're trying to get to your mother, and I'm not going to say why, but you're trying to get to your mother. And along the way, you are meeting characters and creatures that have been basically abused in some way, shape, or form, or had life really hard on them. And you have this bottle, and you go into these little or mini arenas, and you have to clear out bosses. And that's not bosses, I'm sorry, but clear out ads. This is probably the weakest part of the game is its combat. And then at the end of it, you have kind of an echo where you get to see what happened. And over like 4 to 5 echoes, you learn about somebody's trauma that has turned them into a beast. And like these beasts are usually victims of their circumstances and aren't bad. So you are a weaver and you're trying to weave up their wounds. And that's really the gist of it. And along the way, you're weaving up your own story. You are getting abilities and upgrading them. Not like it's very general upgrades, just like I think maybe 2 or 3 skill trees that you're just dumping points into that you acquire in these battles. But it's very snappy. The controls remind me a lot of how Split Fiction feels, the game that we're playing over on your YouTube page right now. And so you mix how good that feels with some really great storytelling. Like the combat kind of disappears, and it should, because it's not bad. It's just comparative to everything else in this game, it takes a backseat. Like it's just a mechanism to kind of progress certain pieces of it.
Did you play Kenna Bridge of Spirits?
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
Like the combat for this, just from looking at it, kind of reminds me a little.
It's very similar. Yeah, it's a great call out. It's very similar
in that, you know, Kenna Bridge of Spirits also combat was not the best part of that game, but it was there.
Yeah. You have a one of the things I do like is you have a stuffed animal, like a little creature looking thing. Kind of looks like one of the mages from the early Final Fantasy games. And his name's Crouton, which I think is really good. But Crouton can go into like tree trunks, and there's like whole little worlds in there that you have to like do a puzzle on. But in battle, you can throw crouton at an enemy and he just possesses them, and then he can just fight as them for a period of time.
That's
You
cool.
have a nice little parry and dodge. I mean, it's very snappy combat. The traversal is fun. You have the Breath of the Wild glider. You have a double jump. You can run on walls. You can kind of grapple with your powers. And it's just a very big celebration of Black culture and the history in this area. And I think it's done so incredibly well. And I want more of this world. I want more of Hazel, and I want more of these stories, because I think you give me a 9-hour video game that has the heart, soul, and pacing that this does to go into some really cool vignettes. Like, this game respected my time. It was not compromising hardly at all on other areas. And I think if more studios bring a shorter, tighter 10-hour game in like this, I will sign up for that all day long. Like, this has been just so good to get through. And I really hope it does come to PlayStation and maybe even the Switch too. Like, I know Microsoft's doing that. Like, this is one of the few games that they've put out recently. I'm like, fuck, man, people should have an opportunity to play this. It's got something to say. It does a good job of it, and it's one of the best looking games I've seen. Period.
And it's doing something unique, which
Yeah.
in this day and age is really rare to
Yep.
have something feel wholly interesting and unique like that. Like, the
Yep.
only other game that I can even think that plays in that same ballpark is like a Norco, just because that's also
Yeah.
set in kind of
Yeah. Very
south.
similar.
Yeah. So it just feels like untapped ground that we can tell more personal kind of stories in. And so I really applaud them for trying something different, because we have a billion space sci-fi games out there,
Yeah.
or high fantasy kind of stuff, but to see people exploring the edges of what we can do, for storytelling and for atmospheric design or environments, that's really neat.
Yeah. I will also say, making the Cheshire cat a catfish is a pretty good thing, especially for this setting.
Yeah.
So definitely, I'm gonna ask you. I know you can play it right now, but give it some time. I bet you it shows up on a place that you'd rather play it, and if it does, I would just encourage you to check it out this year.
Yeah.
I didn't mention it, but I will just say briefly, that game is well priced. Also, I think for the length, it's $40. Compulsion, they did We Happy Few, which I didn't play. I thought it looked cool, but I heard it was bad, and it was published by Xbox. So keep an eye on that. There is a premium upgrade that you can get for $10, and that gets you a soundtrack and some digital extras as well. And that's what I've been up to outside of the blueprints.
Yeah, we're gonna be a little careful on this one. We know that this
I'm gonna let you take the wheel here. Kick us off. Take the wheel. Kick us off.
Sure. Yeah. I'm just putting out there that we know this is a game that is in the current zeitgeist right now.
Yep.
Lots of people are playing this game right now, and it's a puzzle game with a lot of mysteries to it. And we're gonna do our best not to spoil anything in terms of the mysteries, because that is the best part of the game, is unraveling the mysteries yourself.
Yep.
So I don't want to ruin that experience for somebody else. But I do want to talk about this game because it's in the zeitgeist and we're playing it, and it's really fucking cool.
It's really fucking cool. It's also $29.99. It is on PlayStation. It is on PC. It is on Xbox and Game Pass right now. It is made by is it Dogubomb? Is that how you say that?
I think so.
Dogubomb, and it was published by Raw Fury. But yeah,
it's also on PlayStation Plus Extra.
That's right. I always forget. Yeah. Thank you for calling that out. And I'll just say at the top here, we have a stream. You can go check that out if you want to see it in action. Please do.
That does have spoilers in it.
That has a lot of spoilers in it. But
so definitely go into that, knowing that you're gonna. I mean, if you want to see a little bit more about the game and hear a couple yahoos who are somewhere in the middle of it, who don't know everything but are like still kind of pawing in the dark, you can experience that too, and maybe you'll learn like a thing or two. I learned a thing or two from that stream.
It was fun. I had a really good time.
But we'll try to keep this one as like top level and spoiler free as possible.
Can I ask you a question about this?
Please.
Just for the audience, if you haven't ever talked to Chase Kinnicky, I would say that you like these types of games quite a bit, correct?
That's a good question. I don't know if I love mystery games. I think I've played a handful of them, but I mean the closest.
I'm thinking about like Viewfinder. I'm thinking about The Witness.
That's
I'm
true. That's true. I was
like,
thinking about like a Gone Home that I think has
oh, fair.
some elements
Yeah,
of
yeah,
this. Yeah,
yeah.
mostly
And
because
I
you're like
love Gone
walking around a
Home.
house.
So maybe I like
Yeah,
that part of it more than you do, and you like the witnessy stuff. Anyway, I just wanted to give the
maybe.
audience
Yeah,
kind of a baseline on, because you are really hot on this, and I just
I
want to
am.
know,
Yeah.
like, is this unique or is this kind of like your flavor of what you enjoy? I know that you're a big turn-based guy, but just for the audience
Yeah,
sake.
I think it's definitely scratching some itches,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm kind of allowing myself to still get into the parts that I don't like as much, just because I'm enjoying the parts I do like as much.
Yeah.
So this is a puzzle game.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a bit of a roguelike game
A lot like a
in
roguelike.
in that it is run based.
Mm-hmm.
That there are random elements. There's a big mansion,
Mm-hmm.
and your uncle, granduncle,
Grand Uncle.
granduncle,
Yep.
granduncle has died. He owned this mansion, and he has bequeathed it to you on the condition that you find the 46th room of this 45 room mansion, and the blueprints, not the blue
It's a very good
prints.
name.
It is clever. It is clever. I like that. But like you can see the blueprints of of the mansion, and you can see, okay, here's the 45 rooms arranged in this way. It's a 5 by 9 grid, and when you go into the house, you start in an entryway. That's the first room you get, and then you have 3 doors around you, and each time you open a door, it drafts a new set of 3 potential rooms that you could go into. And those rooms have their own different doors or amounts of doors, and then also their own unique things within them, whether they hold keys that can help you unlock locked doors, maybe gems that can help you get special rooms, money that you can buy
Yep.
items for, or unique things within the rooms like little puzzles, or some of them have different mechanics into them. Like there's a bedroom that you can walk into and you'll gain extra steps. What are
Yeah.
steps? Steps is the amount of basically turns you have,
It's
and
like
each
your
time you
mana
walk, yeah, a little bit. Each time you walk into a room, each time you cross a threshold into a new room, it
or
takes one of
stamina.
your
It's your
steps.
stamina.
Yeah, stamina. That's a good word for it.
Yeah.
So it takes one of your steps. So if you keep going back and forth between 2 rooms, even though you've opened up one door, you're still taking steps between those 2 rooms. So it's a game about um, resource management, both in the stamina of steps, the amount of like keys and gems and money you have as you go through the house, and also the amount of options still available to you, how many doors you have that you can go through, trying not to lock yourself out of potential options, because you will not get all 45 rooms, especially not
No.
in your first
No.
run. The room layouts will be in such a way that rooms will tie back into each other or just go into dead ends, and you'll be stuck. And when you get stuck, you can call it a day, or when you run out of stamina, you have to call it a day, because one of the rules that your granduncle has left you is that you're not allowed to spend the night in this house. You have to go outside and camp. You can find the campsite if you walk around out there, but you have to call it a day, and then you come back for another day,
Yep.
and you refresh your amount of steps, and the entire house has uh, become blank again. So you have to open doors, and you'll find new rooms and new combinations of rooms as you go through. That's the basic setup.
Yeah.
Everything else is kind of up to you to figure out, because there are so many little secrets. There's scraps of paper. There's little puzzles that you look at. There's a couple of rooms that have very specific puzzles that you perform. There are some rooms that have more story centric bits, but those story centric bits tie into some of the other grander puzzles. It's just a really dense
I
and
I think it's a game
layered
with
game.
intention also.
Absolutely.
Like everything in this game is intentionally guiding you to or away or around or in a circle, in a weird way. Like everything has a purpose. And I think the first like few times I approached the game, I felt really weird. I was just like, all right, am I understanding what I should be doing right now? Like I was getting to a point where I'm like, everything has to mean something. And if it doesn't mean something to me, I must be an idiot. And so I was like in a room, I'm like, okay, so it has a pawn piece in here. This must be a person that they think is a pawn. Like I'm doing stupid, reductive, like stupid shit like that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, your brain can start to wander. But there's been times where this is the most notes I've taken on a game probably since Tunic. And
And they
I have,
really encourage that behavior.
they
They
do,
want you
they
to take
do.
notes. In fact, the game there's a note that you can pick up at one point. Is like, hey, it might be a good idea to like bring a journal and you played this game. And absolutely, you should.
And there's no right or wrong way to do it. Chase is playing on PlayStation. I'm playing on PC. I ended up buying this game on Steam, even though it's on Game Pass, because I wanted to use this functionality. Steam has an overlay that has a notepad, and you can take screenshots and copy and paste stuff into it. So I'm putting together like a digital journal of this game that I'm really excited about. And I've been able to go back and reference a few things, and that's been super helpful also. Um,
And
Chase, I was gonna.
meanwhile, like I'm taking a couple of
Oh my god!
screenshots of like some more like specific like, oh, here's like a piece of map. I should probably take a screenshot because I'm not writing all that down.
Right.
But also like here's how the boiler room works. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make a little chart myself, or I'm gonna write this stuff down. And like here's a letter. Do I need to write down everything from this letter? I don't fucking know, but like maybe I'll write down these parts of this letter, and then I find something else in the game and go, oh fuck, I need to write down the rest of that letter so I
Yep.
so I have that information too. So yeah, I have, oh god, I think I have at least 10 pages of notes, probably more. Yeah, it's much more than 10. Most of these filled to the brim of just little notes to myself, but also marking down things in the game. Some more like meta kind of puzzles that I only have pieces of that maybe you're learning more about as the game goes on, or maybe it's just a total red herring and this is just wasting. Who the hell knows? So that's part is really exciting, just to keep kind of playing around and exploring this place and picking up on little things and making connections. That part is awesome.
Yeah.
The part that might be a little less awesome to me, which could come back around and be really cool, is more of the roguelikey nature of this. Um, Part of the way the rooms work, as I said, is that sometimes the rooms can circle back on each other or just lead to dead ends. And I it feels like, at least from the beginning of the game and also where I am, that the rooms that you are given as potential options are random, and maybe there is some things that can adjust that randomness,
Hmm.
uh, but very but I haven't been able to like put a room exactly where I want the room to be yet. Maybe that's something I can do in the future, maybe not, I don't know. But there are definitely some times where I feel like I'm on a really good run. I've got some items, like there's like a shovel item that you can dig up, like loamy soil, where you might be able to dig up items, but you need a shovel to do that. Sometimes you'll find the shovel, sometimes you won't.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get like a key card, and it's like, oh, I can use this for these specific doors that say they need a key card. Sometimes you'll get a key card on your run, sometimes you won't. And when you find those doors or when you don't, and so there have been a number of times where I feel like I have the knowledge and I have the resources to move forward. And the game has found a way through some randomness to stop my progress in a time where I don't feel like I should have been stopped. And that can be very frustrating because then you have to go back and you lose almost all of your progress. There are a couple of things that you can do in the game that are permanent, but for the most part, if you had that shovel, you lose that shovel for the next run.
Yeah.
And that part has been a little bit frustrating to me. Of I feel like I was so close at something, or I'm ready to solve a thing, and the game's just not giving me the ability to solve it, even though I have everything I need to get to that point, and that can
Yeah.
be kind of frustrating.
I've also wondered if there's like a golden path in a way where it's like sometimes you find a note, to your point, about something that's very far away or not even known at that point
Yeah.
in time. And I wonder if there was ever like a logic on, well, this is talking about a room that would maybe make sense that you would be going into if you were reading this for the first time. So I wonder if like a placement in the future would be like, oh, okay, I'm in this room. I'm reading about this other room. It would be nice if I could put that room here and maybe something crazy comes from that. I don't know. Like that's just
Right. In the vaguest of ways, because again, I'm trying to be very sensitive
yeah.
to people who are playing this. A thing that we learned from just talking to each other on that Monday stream is that uh, there may be an item that shows up in a particular space
Mm-hmm.
in the house, and it now becomes our jobs to figure out how to make that item continue to show up,
Mm-hmm.
because some rooms maybe have items in them and some rooms don't have items in them. So how can I get the kind of room that I want to go in the spot that would allow me to get the item that may spawn there
Yeah.
all the time, some of the time. Again, we're Bobby and I are in the middle of this game, so we're still
Yeah.
a little bit in the dark, and we're making some assumptions on things that could be right or could be wrong. And I think that is the charm of the game.
Mm-hmm.
That Bobby and I have been able to talk around each other as we kind of give hints, or at least like celebrate our wins together without explaining exactly what we did. I know I told Bobby last night, it's like, oh, after we did that Monday stream, I knew about this other thing and it led to this other thing and it led to this other thing. And I didn't tell him specifically what any of those things were. And he's like, that's cool, man. I was also doing a thing. And it's like, that's cool, man. And we can't tell each other
No,
because we don't want to know.
it's the same. Like, and I think that we kind of bump into it and we come to it in very different. I mean, we're playing the game in different ways. We're capturing the game in different ways, but there is this
And the
common.
roguelike nature
Yeah, totally.
presents the game to us in different ways.
Yeah,
So there's some things that you wouldn't have been able to get to some one of the places that I did, because that just the opportunity hasn't become available to you in the way that it has for me because of the randomness feature. And I think all of those things in concert allow for people to experience this game in a number of different ways. And I think that's really cool because I the game is designed so well to allow
yeah,
you to find things out of order, and then when you find the orders for something, oh, it clicks and you go, oh, that thing I saw 20 hours ago. Have I put 20 hours in this game? I don't know. I
probably.
hear some people say they've put in like 50, and I still
Yeah,
am a little incredulous of like, I don't know how you put 50 hours into this game without not knowing what the fuck you're doing. Uh, but it's
absolutely.
also possible that I just haven't peeled away a layer that would make me go, oh, I gotta spend 50 hours in this yet.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
exciting. That's really
yeah.
exciting to still be in this mode.
We have a little bit of time left here, Chase. I also wanted to carve out marathon
Yeah,
because I think this is a pretty big deal for a lot of reasons.
it's a
Most
big bet for Bungie.
it's a that's the thing. That's you're saying the right words there.
Yep.
So we got the cinematic trailer playing behind us right now, but Bungie, they announced with a very stylized, justice backed trailer 5 years ago now, 4 years ago, I feel like, that they were bringing back Marathon. And last week sometime they started to tease that they had a stream planned for the weekend where they were going to discuss the future of the game and show off what was going on. And they did that. They told us what it was. They showed what it is. And they said when you could play it. And some people might get to start playing that next week in a closed alpha. But we learned a lot more about the game than we had known previously. And we got what I think is maybe one of the coolest game cinematics I've seen in a very long time.
You're talking about the one with the real director as a part of it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I I I I like extraction games. I've played a lot of them that have come out, and I really appreciate the PvE only ones where I can go in and do some cool stuff and get cool shit and pop out. I rather like that quite a bit. I think it's a cool formula. I do not like the pressures that come from a PvP environment where the anxiety that comes on trying to escape is both, you know, thrilling, but also just like too much for me to like have to deal with. And
It's really competitive. Like
it's
if
very,
they're
very
building PvP
competitive.
in it in any way, shape, or form, it becomes competitive in a way that you and I generally do not appreciate for this kind
And
of game.
it sucks because like this is going to be a really harsh criticism, and I kind of want it to sting, but I don't want it to be that hard also. What a waste of a fucking style for an extraction game.
I think this is going back to the last Halo that Bungie made,
Mm-hmm.
where we haven't. I feel like the people who like that Bungie are have been extremely frustrated for a very long time,
Yep.
with good reason. Because Destiny, as much as I enjoyed Destiny, and we've spent a lot of hours playing Destiny, and there's a lot to talk about Destiny.
Yeah.
That game, while it does have single player elements, and you can play that game single player for a lot of it, that is a game about being with other people. Like
Yeah.
that is a game where you go to the tower and other people are there, even if you're not interacting with them directly. It's an always online game that requires that internet connection, and that can be frustrating because it's not a Halo. And then it's doubly frustrating when things go into a content vault and the people who play Destiny today are not cannot play the same content that people who played Destiny from the very beginning played. And so there's a lot of really cool Bungie single player first person story
Yep.
game, the shit they're really fucking good at,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't get to experience Destiny. They haven't gotten to experience Destiny in the same way that somebody got to experience Halo, and can still go back and experience Halo to this day. And it was doubly frustrating that it's a Bungie first person shooter, and it felt like perfect.
Yeah.
it's it's one of the best feeling video games of all time. And for me, I think I'm now getting the frustration that everybody who was playing Halo and saw Destiny and went, they're not making a thing for me. I am now saying about going from Destiny to Marathon of damn, I really like Halo and Destiny, and that's this game looks so fucking cool, and I'm sure it's gonna feel fucking great because Bungie's working on it. But also, I hate extraction games, and
Yep.
this is not my genre. And there seems like there's a lot of bullshit in here of things I don't want to do. Um,
But you know
and
it's going to feel great.
it's gonna feel great. It's gonna look great.
It's
It
going to
already looks
look,
great.
sound, and feel fun. I honestly think this is going to make Destiny feel bad, if I'm being real with you. Like they've had,
Wouldn't that be crazy?
that
Like one
would
of the
be,
best feeling games of all time, and
yes.
they're gonna make it feel like shit.
I mean, I really think that, I think the movement of this is going to far surpass what the movement of Destiny is. There could even be like, I don't know, man. Like, I want this. Like, make this Destiny. Make this the new fucking Destiny. Give me Destiny with this fucking style and like attitude. Like, make it this. And it'll never happen. They got
Yeah.
Marathon, but
Well, and because the of the PvPvE nature of this game, they even mentioned it in the gameplay trailer, not the really produced cinematic one, but the whole point of the game is like teams of three,
yeah,
and there was a little lip service of like you can go in on your own, but that's for like lone wolves who
yeah.
know their shit. It's like that's not me, but also I don't have two other people that I want to go in and play this game with. I don't want to play this game with other people, but I also don't want to play this game alone
Dude,
in a like against teams of other people. That also sounds fun.
I hope you have your blueberry moment that I had, where you end up in the most hardcore PvP section on your second time playing a game like Gray Zone Warfare. And I mean, it was like, there's a thrilling element to it, but there's also a terrifying element to it. And I wonder what this will look like, because that Call of Duty extraction mode I really enjoyed, and there was definitely PvP parts of that. Um, I think this game looks so cool and the vibe and style of it looks so good that it makes me want to roll the dice and be uncomfortable, because I think all the stuff I like about the way Bungie makes video games is kind of here from what I can see. And I want this to be something I know it won't be, and I'll probably end up being super hot on it for a bit and then walk away from it,
Oh,
because
super hot. Oh, what if they just made another super hot?
I mean, I think you would play this with me, and I think that we would. Here's the thing that I'm not so high on, that I'm very nervous about. When you say this is a big bet for Bungie, they see this as a premium product, and they're going to charge a premium price for it. And I'm not saying they should not do that, but I think
well, they are and they aren't, because that messaging was also fucked. Like they talked about They
is it a
said it
free
was a
game?
premium product, and it's not a free game, but I
Okay.
think it was like $40. Because somebody said like, "Oh, this is a premium product; it's gonna have a premium price." And then somebody else went, "Oh, Bungie said premium price, so it's gonna be like an $80 game." And then somebody at Bungie said, "It's not
I
$80.
mean,
It's gonna be
dude,
like
I'm
it's gonna
sorry,
be like
but I think
$40."
40 is the premium price for an extraction shooter.
I would agree with that, but 40 is a lot less than 80. But I think it's weird that Bungie is still saying, well, it's a premium game, but it's not coming out at Super Mario World or Super Mario Kart World or Mario Kart World. What the fuck is
Yeah,
that game
it's
called
Super
anymore?
Mario Double Dash Kart World.
Yeah, thank you.
But no, I think that
Deluxe.
this could, like, look, Sony has not earned a lot of trust on how they're handling their live service stuff right now. We'll see what happens, but I'm curious. I signed up for the alpha. I doubt I get it. I will report back to you if I do get it, though. I'll let you know what that looks like.
I'm really conflicted here because while I do think this looks gorgeous and I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited by the just creative nature of what they're building here, I think it's really cool.
Yep.
Um, this genre of game is so anathema to me. It's
Mm-hmm.
just absolutely not my thing. And everything they've shown in terms of a gameplay standpoint of the things that you're doing moment to moment are the exact opposite of what I want to do in a video game. I don't know if I'm going to pick this up. I
We'll see.
it really yeah. I got to see more. I got to see some reviews. Maybe somebody is able to. Maybe somebody learns like, oh, we should put like a single player mode in here. And if they do that, I'm in. I'm in. I'm on board.
I think you'll learn a lot more in a few weeks for sure. When people
Oh, for
start
sure.
doing the
Yeah.
alpha, I think we'll know a
So
bit
so
more
I'll be
there.
excited. But you know what else I could do though? I could go play Marathon
You could.
1.
You could.
and maybe I'll like that. I've never played Marathon before. I hear it's cool.
I hear good things too.
Yeah.
Stream's acting wonky. Let's wrap this thing up. I don't know what's
Okay.
going on here. I'll be brief. We've had a fun week so far. We got to check out Blueprints, and we've talked a lot about the Blueprints, so we must like it. Tonight, we told you about some video games that we're enjoying and talked a little bit about the news that's been happening. And Friday, I'm thinking about getting back to Schedule 1, but I end up picking up that Forever Skies game that we talked about in the preview, so I might do something with that too, because that seems like a Bobby game.
Cool.
And that's it. Yeah. Oh, I've been playing The Last of Us 2. I might throw that up there. We'll see. I don't know. But Chase, you've been busy with me, nonetheless. What have you been doing?
Hell yeah. Yeah, Bobby and I have been playing on my YouTube channel, Chase K Plays. We've been playing through Split Fiction together, the new Hazelight game, in a series that we've been calling Stranger Than Split Fiction.
Yes.
Episode 3 went out today. It was fun.
It's a
Bobby
fun
and I
time.
continue to have just a good time playing through that. Seeing this kind of guided experience that they're giving us, but also making our own fun a little bit along the way. And I think that's exactly what Hazelight was going for when they made it, and we're taking full advantage of it. So
I'm looking forward to playing more of that every week. We're not going to play it this week, I don't think, but I'm having a really good time with it.
Yeah. So we'll get through it. It's not an incredibly long game, so we'll hopefully wrap up that series in the next handful of sessions. But keep on looking for episodes of that. But in the meantime, like I said, episode 3 went out today, so go check that out. Also, I've got a podcast that I do with my very good friend Pierce Corshane. It's called Pilot Program. Pierce and I watch the first episodes of every television show ever made. We recently put out our episode on the L Word, the Showtime show about
Lesbians.
I think our episode was pretty good. I think
Good.
the show was maybe not so good. But we announced what our next episode is going to be on. We're going to be watching Late Night with Conan O'Brien, and that'll be interesting. We haven't done a talk show thing like that before, so that'll be an interesting new kind of genre for us to talk about. So go check that out, shows.acast.com/pilotprogram. The Conan episode will probably come out early to mid next week.
Nice. All right, y'all. That's what we've been up